you my name. I feel like wifey.
How are you?
Good.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Yes.
How was your day?
It's been long. I had my one of my fit camps today. I swear I was gonna be able to get myself together after, but clearly here I am. So
Yes, looking by.
come as you are. This is a come as you are situation.
Well, it looks like we have a bunch of people joining, so I'll go ahead and dive right in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Wifey Talk. We are doing this episode with the wonderful Brittany Stallworth Jackson. I'm super excited to have you on, so thank you so much for joining. I'm just like over the moon. So. But tell the people just a little bit about you, and then you as a mom, and then you as a wife. You can switch the however order you want to do it, but definitely just tell us a little bit about you.
I am like a jack of all trades. So I'm currently in medical school. I'm in my third year. I have pretty much decided on psychiatry as a specialty, so that's kind of the direction I'm heading. I also have 2 children who run this house. It's their house.
Yes.
I just live here. Yeah, and that's awesome. It's exhausting. And then my husband is in law school, so we also we own a business called For My Kids, and then I also own another business called Smell Like a Mother. So we stay super, super busy in our household, in our marriage, and our parenthood. So if anybody want to pray, send us $1 million, whatever people think is the appropriate gift. Like, I'm with it.
Yes. And so I am super excited. Number one, because first of all, your social media is one of the best social medias there is. I thoroughly enjoy it. And what I like the most is a lot of people don't even get to hear all of the amazing gems that you drop on your social media because they're not one of your close friends. Mm-hmm. And so I do get to see all of that. And I gotta tell you, either your social media either teaches me something or it confirms that I'm not a psychopath, right? Because
or just that we're the same type of psychopath. Like,
or that. Or that, because in this age, I feel like a lot of people go with the flow kind of thing. And so whatever opinion is the most popular, that's the bandwagon they jump on. And you get right on and you're like, listen, no, let me tell you. And so I absolutely enjoy that. And I thank you for being so honest and so open to us, because honestly, I got to tell you, I look forward to it. I really do. I'm like, what's Brittany saying about this? I need to know.
Yeah. I know today our topic is a fun one.
Yes. So our topic is submission. And so I see that we have a lot of people, somebody said close friends, that's what up. So our topic is submission, and it's one that I feel like is really controversial for whatever reason. And so you guys watching, if you have any sort of comments, questions, insight that you want to just chime in, please do so in the comment box. We'll be stopping periodically just to kind of read off some of your comments or answer some of the questions that you might have. So with that, I'll jump right in. So the topic of submission in your marriage, what does that look like to you?
I think it's one of those tricky topics. So for me, in my home, in our home, submission just means everybody playing the role that they agreed to play, right? So I know there are like traditional roles that people think men should play or women should play. We kind of bend those, both of us do in our household. But I think, for me, it's not a matter, well, I can't be controlled. I don't know if y'all have figured that out yet. So it's not a matter of like authority or, control or domination. To me, submission just means being humble enough to play the role that needs to be played for us to get to where we're going as a couple and as a family. But I know the conversation gets heated quite a bit. So, yeah.
And I definitely agree with that, right? Because it's not about control. It's not a level of one person is less dominant than the other. And so I think that's where controversy comes in, because like you said, you can't be controlled, and I'm one that I can't be controlled either. But in my marriage, I do trust my husband to carry on certain things, in which case I'm out of it, because I'm trusting him as the head to take care of it or carry out our certain roles. And he's trusting me as his wife to do that very same thing. It's just, and I couldn't agree with you more about, you know, the roles that you guys choose to play, because it's your house, it's your marriage. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going on the guidelines that society has placed upon it. It's whatever works for us. So like whatever gets you to your destination.
In this house.
Right. Correct. Correct. And so
I think the other part of that is, like, you know, I trust my husband to handle certain things, and he trusts me to let him know when he's not.
Yes. Yes!
In a very honest and accountable.
Oh my God.
Because sometimes I love you sounds like, sir, you effing up, bruh. Like, you know.
Yes.
I mean, he would never say that to me, 'cause I'm perfect, but you know, period. Like, but you know, on the other way around, you definitely, it's a two-way street. So in that sense, it's not like just a woman submitting in her marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think submission, or being submitted to, also holds a certain type of you know, requirement to serve as well. You know what I mean? So like, if I'm going to be the submissive one and trust that you're going to do this, then I need you to serve in your role and take that seriously.
100%, right? Because, and I think the important piece of that is we are selective in our selection of our husbands for reasons. And part of that selection is, can I trust this person with my life, essentially? You know what I mean? And so if we don't trust that person with our life, then yes, submission is a problem, because I don't trust that you're going to carry out certain roles in this relationship. So I think that's what makes it such a hard pill for people to swallow too, because they're like, no, I got this.
And I think sometimes, this was my gripe with the whole Fantasia argument, because it came off like, well, that's why y'all ain't got no man, because y'all don't know how to submit. And I think married women lose people, and it's annoying as hell, even to me as a married woman, as if, like, number one, that women are single are somehow at a deficit, which is insane. Like they're diseased. Like, they just have a big stamp of, like, that's ridiculous. Because let me tell y'all, and I'm like, you know, my husband is watching this, so this is gonna be a little awkward, but like, you know, like, you know, sometimes it'd be hard to be married too, you know, like,
you better preach, you better preach.
You know, so hey David. So, you know, I think the part of the reason that people had such a gripe was because of the way that she came off. It's like, well, you know, and furthermore, like, it's hard to submit to somebody who, like, don't have a bank account or a life plan, or, like, you know, so like, there's this role of, you know, there's a responsibility for women to submit, but, like, you know, we also have to have, you know, a decent suitor to submit.
And so with that, what are some prerequisites to submission? Are there prerequisites to submission?
Well, so, like, it really just depends on your house, you know, like, some people are, you know, everybody has different deal breakers, or, you know, whatever it is. So it's just, it depends on your house. Like, you know, I'm really trying. So I'm working on this. That's my goal for the last quarter of the year. I'm really trying to stop saying the F word. So, you know, I'm just trying to chill right now. You feel me?
But hey, if you gotta let one rip, go ahead.
I think, you know, well, explain to me more what you mean by, like, prerequisites for submission.
Right. So you touched on, like, I can't submit to you if you don't have a bank account. For me, that's a prerequisite. We're not doing that. Like, there has to be some level of equipment that you come with for me to show, okay, hey, you've been very responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I can trust you to carry this ball. I can do that.
A bank account is definitely required, like, checking and savings. Don't play, like, you know. I think for me, the prerequisites are probably, like, I'm big on feeling protected, like, feeling safe, feeling like, you know, when he says he's going to do something, it's really important to me that he does it. And if he doesn't, like, I just need open lines of communication. So I think the biggest thing, I think the prerequisites, like there aren't any specific qualities because every woman is going to be different or man is going to be different. But I think the prerequisites are literally just like feeling protected and safe. You know what I'm saying? For some people, that's financial. For me, that's definitely financial. I don't do poor. But I said what I said. But, you know, everybody is different. Everybody's different.
Period. No, and I think that's a great one. Feeling safe and secure, for sure is one. Because truthfully, like you said, you know, being married is a choice, and it is hard. Like my husband's getting on my nerves right now. You know what I mean? And so
y'all got married young. How old were you when you got married?
we were 23.
Yeah.
We were 26 for me to show. Okay, hey, you've been very responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I can trust you to carry this ball. I can do that.
A bank account is definitely required. Like checking and savings. Don't play. Like you know. I think for me the prerequisites are probably like I'm big on feeling protected, like feeling safe, feeling like you know, when he says he's gonna do something, it's really important to me that he does it. And if he doesn't, like I just need open lines of communication. So I think the biggest thing, I think the prerequisites, like there aren't any specific qualities because every woman is going to be different or man is going to be different. But I think the prerequisites are literally just like feeling protected and safe. You know what I'm saying? For some people, that's financial. For me, that's definitely financial. I don't do poor. But I said what I said. But, you know, everybody is different. Everybody's different.
Period. No, and I think that's a great one. Feeling safe and secure, for sure is one. Because truthfully, like you said, you know, being married is a choice, and it is hard. Like my husband's getting on my nerves right now. You know what I mean? And so
y'all got married young. How old were you when you got married?
We were 23.
Yeah.
We were 23 when we got married.
Yeah.
So very young. And we always say that we grew up together. And I mean that in the most literal sense. Like my parents did their job of raising me, and then Mel took the ball, and we kind of did that for each other. Just because we were so young. And so there was a lot of learning that came with me learning my role in our relationship. And starting with, you know, financial stability and him, me trusting him to do what he says that he's going to do. In my marriage, my role, while the money is there, my husband doesn't do a good job of writing the mortgage payment. So I write that mortgage payment to ensure that it's paid on time. I know that that's my role. And while I appreciate the finances, he is just not good at the admin work. And I am, you know what I mean? So that's my role, and I take pride in that role. I trust that it's going to get done. But there's other areas that I trust.
Nice when that check cash.
Girl, I'd be like, don't take your money quick in, please. Like, take your money. Take your money and get out of here.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Then I know it's taken care of for sure. But I will say that I did agree with Fantasia's analogy of her husband being the head and her being the neck. I very much identify with that because truthfully, that head cannot do anything without the neck moving. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was extremely powerful. And I love that she kind of I don't want to say backtracked, but she did go and add some additional meat to what she was thinking. And from that standpoint, I didn't take it as her talking down on singleness, but rather preparing people for what their marriage could potentially look like. And so, so I don't know, that was kind of one that really stood out to me. And I was really grateful that she was able to share that.
I was glad that her and her husband, I don't know if you saw the second part of it when they both, he had a little sermon. And I was like, see, that's what that's what I'm talking about, you know? Yeah. I think, so here's the other part, right? I think the vessel also matters because I know like on Facebook, I stay out of Facebook arguments. It's like, it's another one of my goals for this year. Like, stop arguing with people for free on Facebook.
Okay.
So,
run me my money.
So I was reading some of the comments and it was like, you know, kind of her checkered past with marriage and the sanctity of it, and right. And so I think that was also part of, you know, and so when we talk about, you know, submission and all of those things, it's just like, you know, I think we just have to come from a place that isn't holier than thou. That's all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. And I think that speaks to the power of your house being your house, right? Like, you know what works for you, and you know what you will not tolerate or stand for, or what works and doesn't work in your household. And so that's what we do have to be careful about feeding into even this platform. I try to be really careful about my messaging, because I never want it to come off like I have it all figured out. I try to be extremely transparent.
No, you have to.
This is a safe space, right? Like, this is
I like that with parenting too.
Yeah, you really are. You really are. Which is great preparation for me, honestly, because, you know, I want to be a mom, and that's why I'm saying I learned something from each of the things that you say on your social media, because it lets me know that, like, okay, wow, I can still be human and still be a mom. You know,
and you can still be human and be a wife, and you can still be strong and cuss a lot and be submissive when it's time.
Yes, 100%.
Which is hard for me to say out loud on God's internet, but here I am. So, here we are.
So in your relationship, was there a discussion or a conversation about submission that you guys sat down and had, or was it something that just kind of naturally flowed?
Oh, hell no, that did naturally flow. We probably should have. So we didn't necessarily, I think, like, so we're going into our 3rd year marriage. It'll be 3 years in January. And I can honestly say we're just now getting the hang of, like, I mean, it's been 3 years like that. So just being 100%, right? We keeping it 100.
Always.
And I think part of that, I'll just speak to my role in that, has been, so like you said, because David and I have been together since we were I was 23, he was 24. And so, like, you know, we kind of did a lot of growing up together. And I think part of our dynamic and changes in submission have just been, part of my submission has been letting him grow up and stop holding things that he did at 24 or whatever, you know, just letting people come into adulthood. And so that's kind of changed over the years, because I've gotten better at that. That was, you know, something that I needed to do. And I'm all about accountability. And I know I wasn't doing that. And so now I think we're in a much better place. And but I think that's something I know I've had to grow into that. Because that was, you know, I'm a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah. A good a lot, but I'm a lot. So.
Yes.
It's been something we've had to grow into, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that does look different for everybody. But hearing you say, I'm sure for new wives, that is something that, you know, you have to grow into. And perhaps somebody has, you know, been in their relationship since their early 20s. And so hearing you say, you know, I can't necessarily hold that same image of him at 23 accountable for who he is today at 29. So yeah.
That's hard. It is hard. It really is. So I think that's been my hardest part, is because I know I've grown since I was 23, but remembering also that he has, and remembering to, like, it's like a relativity thing, right? So, like, remembering to just play my role in relation to who he is now versus who he was. You see what I'm saying? So it looks a lot different. So, yeah.
And so you balance so many different roles, whether it be a business owner, a student, a wife, and a mom. How do you manage all those things?
I don't, honestly, like, I'm 5 seconds. You remember when Brittany Spears went crazy in, like, 2000? I'm like 45 seconds away from that. But honestly, I think one of the reasons I'm able to balance things so well is just, like, it really is I don't know that I would be able to wear all of these hats without, like, these kids are really always here and they don't have nowhere else to go. And so it just be like, I gotta do something. Like, they really live here. You know what I mean? Like, this is their house. Like, that's really my motivation. And honestly, like, sometimes when I just don't feel like it, I'll be like, they just really broke. Like, they are really, you know, like, so.
Broke little best friends.
Yeah, literally, like, just.
And you're a new mom at that too, so you got AJ, but then you also have a new addition too. So like you're balancing just new momhood also with a new baby.
I like new mom. I don't, AJ. I love AJ. AJ is so much fun. But like Dominic just sits in one spot, so it's like nearly as much energy to keep up with him. But I like having them in two different. Like I don't know how anybody does like 2 under 2, or like the fact that they can go like pee on his own and wash his own hands. And, like that all matters. So it's fun though. Honestly, it's really these kids because they gotta go.
Right.
Broke, so they got options because they can't stay here. Like I don't. They gotta go. So yeah.
They gotta go. I cannot. Okay, so last question. Since you are a wife and a mom, were there levels of submission that you had to adjust to with him being the father and then a husband as well? But also, like, let's say David wants AJ to play football, but you don't believe in football. Like, was there a level of submission that you feel like you had to adapt to in fatherhood?
Well, I'll say this: we co-parent really well. Like for the 3 years of adjusting that marriage took, we got it on the first try with parenting. Like, we've never really been on 2 different pages about the kids. Right. But I think the biggest thing, like, I think is so we're both in like very powerful careers. So like people kind of shudder, like, ooh, she's a doctor, right? It's like, first of all, I have no. Relax, because if you knew what I did in the car on my way to the hospital, you would not be that impressed. But I say that to say, like vaccinations were like that was a hot topic, right? Because there are some people who never went to medical school who don't believe in it. Shots fired. And then there are people like me who have like seen, the negative effects of not vaccinating children. Right. And so we had to like have that conversation. And so I had to learn. I also learned this in therapy because I go to therapy. And so one thing I have made peace with is just because something is true doesn't mean how you say it isn't hurtful, right? So like, just because I'm telling you the truth about yourself doesn't mean that I can say it with no tact. Tact is probably the one I need to work on the most. So, we kind of had to figure out a way to, because the kids were going to get their shots. In my mind, there was never like, and they do. They are vaccinated, but I had to figure out a way to, instead of just being like, I think that's stupid, why wouldn't we, I had to listen to where he was coming from and get his history behind it. And it, it made sense. I could understand why people are mistrusting of the medical field, right? And so even in that sense, it was me, kind of being submissive and I in that sense, because it's like, I'm clearly intelligent enough to tell you that these kids need shots, right? But instead of saying that, it was like, okay, well, why do you feel this way? So that's like one example I can give where we had to like, come to, I was right, but I didn't say that. You know what I mean? Because I was, and everybody watching should vaccinate their kids. I said,
period.
Submit.
Y'all heard that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, I definitely, I feel like it was such an important topic that needed to be unpacked, and I feel like I think what we learned here today, most importantly, is that it looks different for everybody, right? Something that I feel like is necessary in relationships, but it can be altered and catered to your specific household. Like no one size fits all for.
Yeah, it's not women submitting this way or men submitting that
way. Right.
Like Justin and Mel do what they do, and Brittany and David rocking how they rocking.
Period. And I agree 100% that it's a two-way street. Like, I mean, I don't think it should be something that's reserved specifically for the woman.
Yeah, because and I'm gonna be real. Like, I don't know if it's men watching, but if you dusty, you can't be asking for a submission. Like
that's it.
I think we should just end up. That's a hashtag.
You can, and that's facts. Like, I'm not. If you don't got your shit together, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, I tell people, some of my friends, like, I don't. There's like potential, and then there's like actually poor forever. Like, don't do it, sis. Don't. And I mean in the mind. You can be poor in the mind. You can have, it's just, so, you know, everybody has to elevate. I think submission requires elevation. I'll put it like that. So you have to give, you have to be, and I don't mean, I hate certain words, like you have to be worthy of something, because I think, you know, that inherently dismisses people's goodness. But what I mean is just that, you know, you have to be, you know, if you're not at your best, I'm not what I'm gonna submit for, type of thing. So
So I think maybe the best word is deserving, right? Like what did you do to show me that that's something I need to do?
And you don't get something for, you don't get something for nothing. And so everybody should remember that, whether it be wives or husbands or whatever, right? That is a fantasy, right? And like, you know, I tell my husband this all the time, like, God may love you unconditionally and your mama might, but I don't. Like, this love is very conditional, right? Like, I don't, and that's important to know, because his should be too. Like, it's certain things I do, right? Like, it was in the contract, I'm gonna stay fine. Like, so, you know, I forbid an industrial accident, like, I'm gonna hit the gym. You feel me? Like, this is just what I do.
But like mother.
No, but really, that was a nice plug. That was a nice plug.
You know, I got you.
But I mean that, you know, you have to be, if you said you were going to do something, do that. And, you know, I think everybody plays their role. Everybody, and in that sense, everybody's submitting. Husbands, wives, everybody is submitting to what they said they was going to do and be that. And if you don't, I'm going to raise hell. You ain't going to have no peace in your house. I'm going to fuck your day up. See, I've said it. Really, you got.
But how necessary was it, right? Like how necessary was that? Because here's the thing: there's so many things that could be messed up for him not doing what he said that he was gonna do. I could have done it. Number one, we could have missed deadlines. In your case, kids are responsible, or we're responsible for kids. Like, there's so many different levels to that. And so, if you want this cup, I don't know another word other than be deserving. Be deserving.
Play your role. That's like our number one rule in this house, is like, play your role.
Yes.
Play your role. And don't, you know, just don't roll up on your grass, because I will. You feel me? Like, I will. So And
I love that those roles organically were created. Because I think that's an important thing to note too. That they're going to, it's going to be what it is as you guys flow and grow in each other. And so I love that. I think that's it. I think that's fantastic.
And I think if we had this conversation again in 3 years, it would probably look different again. I think that's a key to remember. It's just, you know, it be changing. Life be changing.
100%. Yeah.
When you get married to somebody, it be like David is completely different. Like, sometimes I'll be looking at him, and I just be having moments in marriage. I'll be like, dang, he still live here. Like, he really still here. You know what I'm saying? But, and I know he be having the moments, like, because I'm alive.
Like, she's still here.
You know, like, just remembering, you know, that people change over time. To give the people, you know, ebb and flow. Because I'm sure I've been vulnerable at times. And so just remembering to give people, you know, when we talk about submission, I think part of that is also just, you know, not letting anybody BS you, but also just letting people be human and go through what they go through.
100%.
You know?
Yes. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I absolutely enjoyed you, and
awesome. I want to do this more. We should talk about some other stuff.
Oh my God, yes. And so for anybody who's watching, if you guys have topics that you want us to unpack, we can totally do that. I want this to be a safe space for us to be wives and be human and unpack this thing, because I mean, it's like you said, people are ever changing, and so we are ever changing as well. We got to navigate through that. We shouldn't necessarily have to do that alone. So thank you.
You go, girl. You keep it up.
Well, thank you so much again. Bye.
Yes, ma'am. Good night. See you.
Bye.